Hi, I'm Kara. I'm 43 and single and never been married.
I'm Mark. I'm 45 years old.
Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm 41 years old.
Hi, my name is Levi. I'm 28 years old.
I'm Rosie. I'm 28.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm 45 years old. Do I look okay?
I'm here today to learn how to attract a better quality guy into my life. I don't know if it's something the way I come across.
Right. Okay, what's going on there? I mean, if you're seeing this as a pattern, right?
Yes.
You've probably heard the phrase, you are what you attract?
Yes.
Well, what you noticed was there's a physiology shift when we were coaching her, because she almost got defensive because her friends have been telling her that she needs to tone down this aggressiveness, and it's almost toned the aggressiveness down so much that she's become really shut off and quiet and meek.
Back off.
You consciously do it.
I consciously do
because
it.
you don't want to infringe on the male ego.
Because that's what I've been told. That's what I'm doing.
How's that working for you?
Apparently not very well.
Well, no, I'm not. When a guy is in a dating situation, he's caring about one thing. You know what that one thing is?
What's that one thing?
Can you take a wild guess?
You just want to get in my pants?
Well, he's thinking about the outcome.
So when I brought that to her attention in the session, it was really enlightening. You can actually see when you watch the film, there's a lot of shifting and shaking, and she kind of leaned back, and there was almost like this defensiveness that she got, because that's not something she's used to hearing.
You're single, you've never been married, you have no kids, you're 43 years old. Okay, you know what guys are thinking?
I know.
What are they thinking?
They're probably thinking there's something wrong with
Yeah,
me.
what's the problem? What's her issue?
I was abandoned as a kid, so...
What kind of guy do you want? Do you want a meek guy?
No.
Do you want an oddball guy?
No.
What kind of guy do you want? Describe it to me. Your tone of voice.
Okay.
It's almost mousy. The way you're putting yourself out there in those regards, it's the behavior. See, what guys can sense this. When you get your comfort level with yourself first, it doesn't matter who's going to interact with you. You're in control. Everything starts and stops with you. But you have a belief that if I guard myself and only give a little bit of myself at a time, that's the right strategy. And I'm here to tell you that's not the right strategy.
Right.
And remember, beliefs drive behaviors. If you understand his beliefs, then you understand his behaviors. Come up with a set list of questions that we call your go-to questions. These are your go-to questions. So when you own that power and you say, you know what, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I'm a woman that knows what she wants, and that's exactly the kind of guy that I'm going to attract. But the behavior is coming out as needy. You're going to have a hard time because you're needy. Seriously, if I was going through your bio, I could read through and go, ooh, she's got issues. She's got a lot of issues. She probably needs counseling. And that we would be the first persons to tell you that. We're not counselors. We're here to give you the truth. The point is you're 43 today.
Right.
And you can make a choice today. What's it going to be like for you moving forward? Like, okay, that's the one. That's the gal that we want to go out there and put out there in the first minute of a date, or find the kind of guy. So we got some ideas on that, number one. Two is working on your belief system.
Okay.
And really shifting the belief, because our belief is if once you get congruent with that new belief, the behavior will change. There'll be no meek. There'll be no quiet. There'll be no this mousiness that comes. It'll be the natural self that you will see, and we will. We literally can go back and pull the tape, and I'll show you exactly what we mean, so you can see it for yourself.
So one of her big takeaways was to really embrace who she was, and really to work on her physiology, to literally create more of this confidence that, because men can pick up on somebody, especially with a woman with low self-esteem, and that's the kind of man that she's been attracting. That was the big takeaway, was you are who you attract. So who are you showing up to be?
Let me tell you what was great about meeting with Dan and Mike. They really were able to point out some things that I didn't realize about myself. It opened my eyes to some things that I really didn't realize was going on with myself.
Recently broke off my engagement, and I'm hoping to get some guidance today.
One of the strategies that Mike and I use to really align with people quickly and get to the heart of the matter, if you will, allow them to open up, is our use of the NLP skills. As behavior specialists, we're looking for language patterns, we're looking for belief systems, we're looking for physiology.
What would you like to know?
Well, first of all, how do you feel about it?
It's a little sad.
Yeah.
It's a lot sad, actually.
Yeah.
But sorry.
It's okay. One of the things that I love about you is that you're very confident. I'm attracted to confident women, and that's a problem for a lot of men. So I think part of your understanding is the fact that you are who you are, and you don't need to change who you are. You don't need to change the way you walk, the way you address things, and so the man that's right for you is going to be attracted to that. Right. It's also coming clean with that's who I am, and I need to have a man who wants a strong woman. Right. End of story. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So I think that's just part of your part of your list. As you know, if I like these guys, I like whatever your style is. That's something you need to put in there.
Right.
Is that I need a guy who's self-confident. So.
No, that's good. I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
By being the kind of person that's assertive and confident, she's going to attract the kind of guy that is attracted to that kind of woman.
Yeah.
And so that was the big takeaway for
Huge
Bridget
for her.
today.
Yeah.
But it's also knowing that. So if it comes up again, it's like, oh, I got 2 red flags and 2 dates.
Yeah, it's
Something's
time
up.
to say goodbye.
Something's up. Or just have a conversation with them about it.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
What do you do when a guy that was in the past starts coming back? That's just happened.
Okay.
Like on Facebook. What do you do with that on Facebook? I mean, I don't get that. I'm like, what? He obviously knows that I'm not engaged anymore.
Right.
So what does that mean?
Well, it's a way for him to see what's going on, take your temperature, and if he can come and see you and engage in some sex, then that's great.
Got it. Okay.
And so you just need to see how bad he wants it, and if it's real,
Okay.
that's what he wants.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
That helped a lot.
The NLP strategies in regards to hypotheticals, pre-frames, and reframing things allows us to give her things to think about. And she walked away with some tools she could use.
I'm currently married. We were separated for 8 months.
Okay, she's got 2 and you have 1,
Right.
a 6-year-old. So how's that compound, attempting to save a marriage?
It was, when we split up, it was horrible. The kids were crying. She would text me and call me as to how her oldest daughter was taking it, how every day she packed her backpack and asked if we were going back to live with me and my son.
One of your challenges, you said, that was holding you back was your temper. What's going on there?
I get angry very easy.
Do you?
Not as bad
Should I
as
be, should I be worried?
No.
You're going to come across the table at me?
No.
Okay. Is there certain triggers that cause it? Certain people, certain incidences, any emotional situations that trigger the anger?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I know one thing that really caused me to want to go to counseling was I was at work, and I actually got fired because I threatened my coworker.
Oh, wow. But to be able to train your mind to do that, that's one thing that Dan and I will work with you on from a behavior perspective. And all it is a belief shift. The belief shift, if we got you really, like in your heart of hearts, to believe in that moment, for me to yell right now is going to send a wrong message to my son. And what does that say about me as a man?
Right.
There was a point, and I know from her session that he's not a real emotional guy and doesn't show a lot of emotion, but there was at one point, it was easy from our vantage point because we could see without the lens, they almost was like starting to glass up when I stared at him, from one man to another, that next time he starts to feel angry, he starts to feel that temper, I want him to think about what kind of a role model he's being for his 6-year-old son. And that really, really resonated with him. And that was something that we both picked up on in the session because you could tell that's a really important identity that he had.
How's the sex life?
Great.
We call it sexpectations. Sexpectations is what you expect from sex in the relationship and what her sexpectations are. So if I were to ask her and you behind each other's back, what would I see comparative notes, or would I see a big difference?
I hope so, but I honestly couldn't ask for anything better.
Okay.
And I'm being totally honest.
Sort of 10 scale, you both said your appetite was 10. Did you know that? She put a 10?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay.
When we
So
got-
1 or 2 main goals that Dan and I can help you with, not just personally, but as a couple to empower you guys.
Okay.
What would you say those 2 things would be?
Communication, absolutely, number
Okay,
one.
tell me about that. What's the communication like?
It was non-existent. I'm trying to work on not being more mean than she is when we argue,
My husband and I are currently separated, but we're moving back in together this weekend. Hopefully by the end of this, we have some tools to better communicate and make this a more successful marriage.
So first of all, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
So we're going to kind of jump right into it. We looked at your questionnaire, which was fantastic, by the way. So thanks for being so open and vulnerable.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about. I've met Levi. Seems like a really good guy, and he really loves you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, which is great.
I really love him.
You got married, and then you separated. So what happened?
I don't really know how it went wrong. I think looking back now, I thought he was always more of a rock and didn't need so much assurance. And I think as we got more comfortable, I stopped saying such nice things. He ended up having an affair while we were dating with another woman who was gorgeous. I got pictures of them together.
Ouch.
Every time he was on his phone, I thought he was with her.
Now, as far as Rosie's concerned, I used a strategy, an NLP strategy called the Cartesian quadrant on her. Effectively what that means is just confuse the hell out of her. So essentially I took her to 4 quadrants of her brain and asked her a question about cheating. So for instance, I said, so have you ever met somebody, have you ever been in love with someone and have them cheated before? And she said, yeah. I said, well, have you ever been not in love with someone and seen them cheat? She goes, yeah. Have you been in love with someone and have them not cheat? She goes, yeah. Have you not been in love and seen someone cheat? Yeah.
You can see the confusion in the face, too.
And so I said, well, you know, Levi's a human being and he's an amazing guy. So anyway, how are you going to do different about this next relationship? And so what happens inside the mind, it's kind of a trick, but it's called the Cartesian quadrant. It allows people to really change their way the wiring works inside of their head, and it gets them out of their old pattern.
So now you're moving in. You know, you're going back. So have you healed this part of you that you're still gonna lash out at him about every time you have an argument? Say you cheated on me?
No, I actually I trust him more now than I think I did even before the affair.
You know, from a behavior standpoint, I mean, first of all, people are people. Humans are humans, and humans make mistakes.
Right.
So if you let him back into your life, you got to get rid of the mistake.
The couples and divide them up. And we first met with Rosie, and then we met with Levi separately, and then we bring the two together and talk about what we hear. And we both sit in on those sessions because when Dan and I work together, we always say, you know, 4 ears is better than none. So we're actually listening for the language patterns. We're listening for the limiting beliefs.
Mike and I want to congratulate you for coming in here and being so vulnerable and quite frankly so mature for being such a young couple. So Mike and I have worked with countless couples. I've had challenges, fallen back in love, and so the fact that you're here to work it out says a lot about you. Well, let's talk a little bit about your communication. I think you guys are both very vulnerable and communicate very aggressively sometimes. An assignment that I would have for you is that the way you'll never get in any problems is to share how you feel. Your feelings are real.
And you're never wrong in your feelings.
Never.
For yourself, as part of your exercise, identify where does the communication typically break down. That I always say there's peacetime and wartime. Okay, peacetime is when you're on a date, having a glass of wine, enjoying yourself, and it's romantic. Wartime is when you're throwing stuff and you're pissed off at each other and you're going off. And then there's a natural tendency, and you admitted this, there's this natural tendency to make comments in wartime that never gets heard the right way. If you think of identity and behavior as two different things, you never want to attack his identity, you never want to attack her identity. She's a great woman, she's beautiful. That's reinforcing that identity.
We'd like to hear from each one of you. Start with you, Rosie. What was the best thing that you got out of today?
It's nice to be able to sit here and kind of be coached and in a just calm environment with you guys. You guys are very calm and it's not stuffy. Kind of hear you ally with him and me and just be, you know, an unbiased party and just be really neutral is really important.
Sure.
Thank you.
How about you, Levi?
I think the biggest thing that I'm going to take from this is what you said. Attack the behavior, not the identity of the person.
If I were to share with you, I'm not feeling appreciated, which is very common. Men, that's one of the number one reasons why men cheat in the United States. Is they don't feel appreciated. It's not sex. It's underappreciation.
Found most successful is that having two people that don't need each other, they want each other. You can get to the point where I don't need her, I want her, and you can feel the same way. That's really powerful.
You guys are going home together tonight?
Yeah.
I'll give you a fun exercise on the way home. Okay. I want you guys to share with each other on the way home 5 things that you love most about each other.
Okay.
You tell her, you go 1 for 1. They, like a lot of people in communication, speak in vagary. We call it 6-foot communication. It's very shallow. So we like to probe when we hear things like somebody has odd behaviors or we have struggles in our marriage. When we dove down through our power of questions, what we found out was both of them are very good at arguing. They both agree to that. There are some temper issues on both sides. And we got them to talk about that. The one thing that I think the both of them got was they walked out of the session with a different identity of themselves. They're no longer two angry people that are constantly upset with each other and have bad tempers. They're going home looking for, as she said, an amazing husband.
So what was interesting about Kristen today is here's a 45-year-old woman, divorced twice out of an abusive marriage. And literally within 10 minutes, I was able to go in and extract some information that she shared with me afterwards that she hadn't even talked to her best friends about.
I think he wanted my lifestyle and my family and my house and everything that came with me. And after the marriage, he became extremely abusive. and that's when the domestic violence incidences began. After a while, though, as it got worse, it became unbearable, and I found myself crying every day.
One of the things that Mike and I do, which is unconscious, is have the ability to tap into the fact that they're so comfortable with us. I mean, I'm a married guy, so I'm not attempting to pick her up. And when I was complimenting her on the fact that she was so attractive and she's got a lot of options out there, she literally took a step back and she took a deep breath and she went internal.
Things. First of all, you're very attractive, a very beautiful, intelligent woman, so you have a lot of choices. And that's one thing that you really need to believe inside of your heart. I mean,
I don't think I really believe that.
As a man telling you this is that there's a lot of men out there.
You know, here I am at a point in my life at 45 where I've seen enough and experienced enough that I know I want a relationship that feels good.
And you're single, back in the market. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
And so when I shared with her that she sets the standards and if the guy doesn't treat you right, it's okay to go. It was almost like I gave her permission on how to act.
Yeah, that's right.
Mike and I do women's programs all over the country. And one of the things, the strategies we talk to women about is really learning how to set the standards for the man that you really want to attract.
And I'm still trying to figure that out.
A 45-year-old woman who had been verbally and physically abused, 3 children, and had always dated younger men.
Oh, wow.
And so now the guy she's dating is 7 years her senior. He's 52 and she's 45.
How old is he?
Very refreshing. He is 52. And it's the first time I've been with a man who's older. I've always traditionally been with younger men. So this is a new thing for me.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, I educate her on the relationship maturity scale that, you know, men mature differently, almost 10 years back. So she was blown away and she had never heard about that before. Which
It's called the relationship maturity scale. And so just the baseline is that men are typically 10 years behind women emotionally. So if you're 40 and you're dating a 35-year-old, he's really 25.
Oh, wow.
So
I
of
didn't
course,
realize that.
yeah, because that's why you get the immaturity and you know, just a 25-year-old man. So the research that we've done, it starts evening out at 50. So if you're 50 and you date a man that's 50, because of his life experiences, because he's over his ego issues and, you know, all this stuff, he's pretty on your even level. But the fact that this guy's 52 is great.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, one of the challenges for women is finding that emotional connection, and it's rarely found in a younger man. Rarely.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
What makes Dan and Mike so good at what they do is the fact that they are so real. So I feel like I'm better armed with strategies to make a success out of a relationship.
is what you and I do. You know, we're able to go into a room and in 10, 15 minutes change their identity about how they see themselves, and how you see yourself changes behavior. And she walked out of here with some tools.
I'm still looking for the woman of my dreams, and been working with Dan and Mike that way finally.
He's 45 and single, and he wants to settle down and be in love. He's such an endearing guy.
Yep.
When you sit down and you talk to the guy, and you wonder, how's this guy having these challenges? Well, a lot of it, as he'll tell you, is his confidence in his mindset.
Right.
You had a couple more dates, I understand, in the last couple weeks since we spoke. Tell me a little about those. Okay.
Met one girl, had a really nice conversation with her. At the end of the conversation, she asked me for my phone number.
Whoa, she's flipping the script, man.
Yeah,
I like that.
Big confidence booster for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Very, very nice. Helped me get a better mindset about myself. Just meeting with them really boosts my own self-confidence. They've also helped me to get a better handle on how to have a conversation with a woman when I go out on a date. Say that they really helped me get some of my self-confidence back.
You know, we talk about the rewiring of the subconscious mind and how we are unconscious to certain things. We make it seem simple. You know, when we're talking to them, we're not talking about these things. We don't go, okay, Mark, we're going to take all these things and we're going to rewire your brain. We do this through our methods. So when people walk out of a 25-minute session, they go, wow, I really feel like I got a lot from this. Well, there's a reason why they got a lot from it in 25 minutes, because we're using the methods to be able to get to somebody very quickly around very tough subjects.
And oftentimes they don't even know what's happening.
Right, that's right.
And that's the magic to what we do. It's about getting a person from point A to point B without them knowing what's going on. They don't realize they've been working so hard. They walk out of here and they go, wow, I feel better and I've got some tools to use. Well, we've just unwired them, rewired them,
Yep.
and put them through a series of tests, if you will, psychological tests and behavior issues and language patterns and belief system checks, and all this is done through conversation, and that's what separates Mike and I from everybody else.